Hi, this is Chrissy Incognito, and welcome to another episode of my channel. Now, you might be wondering why I'm incognito. This is my alter ego that can say things that I cannot otherwise say unless I was incognito. So, thank you for returning. In order to understand more about this episode, please view the previous episode. Happy listening.
So I sent the email thinking I would either get, and I know it's like weird to say this. I sent the email in order to get some sort of, I needed reassurance, and I did not know I needed reassurance. I don't think he was the one to give me reassurance because he was playing defense with people getting close to him and him getting close to people. Basically, at that point, I think my motivation for sending it was I wanted to get a little frustration out because at this time I was like, I don't understand. Like, you're coming around, you're calling me, we're rearranging our phone lives together, and you're fading on me, and you're old. That's another thing. He was 8 years older than me. So, I looked at him, I guess, it is an adult. So if I was 24, I think he was 32 or so, I don't know, whatever. But I think he was 8 years older than me. And so I kinda looked at him as the adult. And, so I sent it. Yeah. In typical Lance fashion, which I realized this down the road, everything is like everything bruises his ego. And I don't mean like if I said to him, um, "Oh, you didn't tie your shoe right. Let me help you." That's not what I'm talking about. But personal, emotional ego. He cannot ha- handle, I guess, being reminded of how emotionally unavailable he is. So he took that as I was very accusatory. I didn't talk to him about it, which he's right, I didn't. And that, he didn't lead me on, but of course it just stopped there. It wasn't like, "I didn't lead you on, but I realize I'm unable to, really, um, really, go forward in this relationship." He's like, "I spent a lot of time with you. People don't get my time." And he wasn't saying this snotty. He was saying this because for him, it was a really big deal. For him to open up, for him to wanna talk to somebody, for him to, I guess he felt that he was being vulnerable, which he really wasn't. He was just telling me the story of his life, and then daily life. But that was really big for him, and I saw it as, "You're not doing enough." Like, it's easy to tell me your childhood stories, or the story about this, um, but I felt like you just fell off. You didn't even get to the part of being intimate. But for him, um, that evidently was a lot. And I saw it as not even coming close to um, be connecting, emotional intimacy, opening up, because he opened up about events in his life. Anybody could do that. But to be intimate, right? Like I'm doing now, being very candid, being very honest, open. I'm trying to examine what I was thinking and feeling at the time. So he's like, I don't, he wrote back and he's like, I don't have a lot of time. And the time I do have, I give to you. I was like, okay, I know that's supposed to be, that is not enough. And why I say that, it's not the hospital. It was never the hospital. I understood your demands. That's not what I'm talking about. You're giving me time, but you're not giving me quality. Okay? It's not like we're emotionally bonding. It's not like you're telling me, I'm telling you, because I had no problems. I had written emails along the way because I knew he didn't handle intimacy. So I had written him emails, and and I was very candid, and I did it in a safe way because I knew it was gonna take him back. It was gonna incite some sort of fight or flight instinct in him because that's how scared he was of intimacy, of emotional intimacy. Of course, physical intimacy, they don't have problems with men. But so I was very careful to like plant little tiny like love notes along the way to not hit them all at once with how I felt and stuff like that. So he basically came back at me and some of it again, it was logical, was not emotional. I was being emotional. He was being logical, which is good. That's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear, "Oh, yeah, I wanted to tell you how I felt, but I have difficulty with that." Like, that's what I wanted to hear because when he was giving me his red flags, he was telling me he was emotionally unavailable. Like, he would be talking about something and be like, "Well, you can't take it from me. I'm emotionally unavailable." He's like, "That's what girlfriends have said." And I first of all, I didn't know that term at the time. And second of all, I didn't feel like he was being emotionally unavailable. We were starting to get to know each other. We were going down the line of being, getting to know each other. That's part of it, right? If you don't want any part of emotional intimacy, you don't open up to people. And he was. He was in the beginning stages of opening up. So he said, I read, he wrote back and he said, "I read your email and I read it over, like, a couple of times, and I let, like, a night lapse before I responded," because he goes, "I wanted to respond appropriately." I was like, "Okay, just tell me, just give the kiss off. Let's be done with it." He's like, he's like, "I give you as much time as I have." And I was like, "Yeah, time is not an issue, it's the quality," right? But I couldn't articulate it back then. Basically, he was saying that he said it very nicely and very unemotional, like I attacked him and he didn't know where this was coming from. Didn't know where, like, because you don't have that capacity. He didn't know where it was coming from. Um, and in a nice way, he said, very, again, diplomatic, professional, unemotional. He basically felt attacked and he didn't know where this was coming from. And he was upset about this. He goes, "I don't have a lot of time." He goes, "But whatever free time I have, I make sure like something like you get it." That was very nice. If it had been followed by, "I have feelings for you. I've never had these type of feelings before. I'm not really sure how to handle it. And, whatever, I need some time or I need help," or whatever it is. Okay. But again, he kept that distance. I was like, as I was reading it, I'm like, "I know you give me work time, day and night, night and day, so I know you give me time. That's not what I'm complaining about. I'm I'm interested in whether you're leading me on or just, this isn't going anywhere." So for the next 2 months, he did not talk to me. He said, this this something about, he didn't say it hurt him, but he goes, "This is gonna take up a lot of my energy, and I don't have that type of energy to give right now," which again, that was Lance hiding behind the hospital. It's not what I'm talking about. And so I don't know when I'm going to be able to address this. Okay. Now, I wish at that point I had walked away. Okay. I wish at that point I walked away. Um, but I felt that we had a connection and it was a lot of us laughing and joking and sharing and relating. And I don't know. Like I said, we had hours and hours and hours of strictly talking. So, but as in retrospect, I wish that I just walked away because that was probably the best thing to do. But when you have feelings for someone and you don't want to just walk away, you stay in the situation.